What's up, Vetters? Patrick here with Vetted. I hope you had a wonderful Father's Day. I took the weekend off. I am a dog father, if you will, so I took the weekend off. Yep, I did it. So anyway, happy Father's Day to everyone out there. Let's jump into this. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp recently went on Chris Cuomo's show on YouTube, and I've got some clips from that appearance, and George Knapp said some things you're going to want to hear.
I don't know what the big answers are. Like you, Chris, I'm not expecting to meet aliens. I don't believe in aliens. I was attracted to this story because of the paper trail of documents, memos, reports that were shared within the Department of Defense and CIA and other agencies before the Freedom of Information Act became the law.
Especially this quote right here, where George says that he doesn't believe in aliens. People are taking that, I think, a little out of context. So we'll dive in further and get the full context of what exactly he said. So let's dive into this. Please hit that like button, Vetters. That really helps out the videos. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, y'all. What are you waiting for? I put out new videos about the UFO phenomena every week, and I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Let's make that happen, Vetters. All right, before we get to this clip of Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp on Chris Cuomo's show, I actually got a shout out from Jeremy Corbell on the most recent episode of the Weaponized podcast. Take a look.
Yeah, Contact in the Desert. I keep saying Palm Springs. I don't, there's a couple of little towns that are jammed together there. It's in that same general area. And Contact has become the world's largest UFO event. They had dozens of speakers. We were there, give a little a talk or two, and I got to sit down with George Norrie and answer questions of the public. And I wish I had had time. We were able to see a lot of the other speakers who were there. It just wasn't in the cards. What did something jump out for you there?
Yeah, I mean, look, I really just enjoyed kind of being able to hang out with people that I've seen on their podcasts and that sort of thing. There's the kid Patrick from Vetted, Chris Ramsey, Jesse Michaels. I like the young blood coming in and throwing bombs.
So anyway, huge thank you to Jeremy there for the shout out. And yeah, I had a great time with Jeremy at Contact in the Desert. It's really wonderful to meet people in person. You might have an idea of who they are online, or you've seen them in an interview or this or that. You don't really know anybody until you really start to meet them in person and talk to them. And even then, that takes some time, but it definitely makes a huge difference to meet people in person. So anyway, thank you to George and Jeremy for the shout out there. And really happy that Jeremy's, part of the show. What was kind of funny is him calling me a kid. I'm 45 years old. So, hey, I'll take it. Maybe I look younger. I think I'm just a couple years younger than Jeremy, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm the young blood coming in. Whatever. I'll take it. Compliment's a compliment. So anyway, thank you. All right, let's jump into these clips here from Chris Cuomo. You're going to hear specifically from George Knapp quite a few things, just all the recent updates, right? The Wall Street Journal article coming out, sort of deflating the UAP topic, if you will. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a link in the description to a video I made about it. But essentially, they basically just came out and said it's all been a hoax. The U.S. government has been lying to people behind the scenes, thousands of people, showing them fake UFO stuff and having them believe it's real. And that in and of itself is responsible for all the stories you've ever heard about UAP. So nothing to see here, folks. What? Anyway, I'll put a link in the description if you want to learn more about that, but they do jump into that. But I got 4 clips for you from this particular appearance. So let's take a look at clip number 1.
George, when you are looking at the state of play right now, do you believe we've made progress? And what's your biggest question going forward?
Well, we have made progress since that New York Times story 2017. Congress has shown it's interested in the topic after being hands off for more than 50 years. Major media at least dabbled in it for a while, now have pulled back. The academic community has come forward. Some people have stepped forward bravely and said, we want to look into this. So yeah, there's progress being made. But, the keepers of the secrets, the folks who have manipulated this topic for almost 80 years now, are better at their job, I would dare say, than you and I and Jeremy are at ours. They have a lot of tools at their disposal. We've seen some of it come out in the last couple of days in national media accounts that muddy the waters, that confuse the public. They've admitted what we've all known for a long time, that they've lied to the American public, that they've lied to Congress. Now we know they've lied to their own military personnel, made up stories. Propaganda, it's disgraceful. But now a lot of it is out in the open, so I would call that progress.
George makes some good points, right? But I think it's also important to remember that this goes both ways, right? People that are, let's say, for the topic also muddy the waters, and people that are against it muddy the water. The waters are going to be muddied. This is muddy water, period, from the get-go till the end. There's really no need in focusing on it, if I'm being honest. If anything, just find ways to see through the mud, right? I don't know. That's a dumb thing to say, but you know what I mean. Find ways to see through this, because it's not going to change, right? It's like wishing for a river or a lake that's clear water. Like, it's just not going to happen, right? So I think it's just more important to just kind of keep pushing forward, which, to be honest, that's what they do, right? So let's continue to clip number 2. Again, remember, I have 4 clips, so let's keep this going.
What is your best reckoning of who we're up against and what they're about?
It's a combination of Department of Defense folks, intelligence agencies, defense contractors. I think it's probably a small group of the people that really know what's going on. And even they probably don't know the big picture. You know, Jeremy and I have been pretty far up the food chain over the years, me even longer than him. And I have never met anyone who really knows the true story. I've run into a lot of people whose job it is to confuse the public, to muddy the waters, to slip out propaganda, as we've seen over the past couple of days and over many years. I don't know what the big answers are. Like you, Chris, I'm not expecting to meet aliens. I don't believe in aliens. I was attracted to this story because of the paper trail documents, memos, reports that were shared within the Department of Defense and CIA and other agencies before the Freedom of Information Act became the law. And in those reports, it shows they were saying, hey, this is real. It's not imaginary. It's not fictitious. It's real. It's not us. It's from somewhere else. We need to figure it out because there are national security issues involved. 1953, the Robertson panel gets together for CIA. They spend 6 hours over 2 days looking at UFO evidence, and they decide UFOs are not a threat to national security, but the reporting of UFOs is a threat. And we need to strip it of its aura of mystery. We need to debunk it. We need to use ridicule. And that's pretty much been the policy of the U.S. government ever since. And it ticks me off. It's what got me hooked on the topic. They're telling the public one thing. They're saying something behind closed doors to themselves that is far different. And it makes me angry.
Well, George, you're not alone. I think a lot of us are angry, but all the way around, right? The muddying of the waters comes from people within the UFO community, not just the American government telling us one thing and showing us another. Like, I agree with all that, but it's also happening within the UFO community, and I don't think that gets focused on enough, right? Why? Right? What is the reason for that? So I totally understand. It is confusing, you know. It truly is impossible to kind of know what the heck is going on. Here's clip number 3. Stay with me. I got one more after this.
George, what do we need to know?
Well, one thing we know is they're never going to give this up. I mean, it's pretty clear. These recent reports that have been issued by Arrow and now the repeated media statements by the former Arrow staffers, there's nothing to it. There's no information. There's no proof. It's stuff that we made up. It's disinformation that we spread out there. We created the story about Area 51. We created the story about nukes being disabled. That's all us. All the technology that people have been seeing in the skies around the world on every culture, every continent throughout human history, that's us. It's preposterous. It's ridiculous. There's no way we could ever accept it. But Arrow has made it clear they're not going to give this up. They're not even giving it up to Congress. I admire the people who've been pushing the ball down the field in Congress, but they've been manipulated on this topic as well. There's always something more pressing for members of Congress, for the public, you know, a job, your mortgage payment, your family, bills for Congress. There's Ukraine, there's Gaza, there's the stuff in LA that's unfolding right now. Always something more pressing than UFOs. So the people who tell these lies get away with it.
Now, I'll put a link in the description to this full interview if you want to watch more. There's way more that was said. But I admit, I agree with George here, right? They're never going to give it up. That's right. You just got rickrolled, y'all. Okay, let's move on to the very last clip here where they kind of sum up a lot of, honestly, what a lot of us are thinking.
what would be the 3 things that you would want answers to?
I'd like to know ultimately where they're from and what their intentions are regarding us. Are they interested in us? Where they're from? Are they interested in us or the planet more than us? Number 2 is, why the secrecy? I mean, I could see it in 1947. We just come out of World War II. The world's a mess. Do you need to share that with the public and tell them there's another intelligence more advanced than us? Well, why the secrecy now, though? Number 3, if the technology is being tested in secret in some hangar somewhere, what do we need to get it done? Can we ever master it? And are the national security implications legit? Because there is a race for this technology. Us, the Russians, the Chinese, maybe the Israelis. How do we ever separate the UFO technology from national security concerns that would allow some president to step up to a microphone and say, we've been lying to you, here's the truth?
What can you add to that, Jay?
I just would have one question. What made you look beyond your orders and not follow your oath? Like, what made you do this? Keep this from the American public? What is so scary to you that you are holding this back from the American public and hurting people's lives? That's what I really want to know. It's more of a human question about the secrecy of UFOs. I'm done with it. The American public's done with it. And I hope we crack this egg as soon as possible.
What do you think the watershed moment will be, George? What do you think has to happen that hasn't yet?
There's got to be a whistleblower who comes forward with a piece of something or some video evidence, something irrefutable. Or it has to be them, whoever they are, wherever they're from. I mean, they're the real architects of the secrecy. Wherever they're from, they've been here a long time. They could make themselves known in some irrefutable kind of a demonstration. They haven't done it. We get little glimpses, little bits and pieces, a look here, a look there, but they started the secrecy and our government is happy to exploit it.
All right, I'll put a link in the description. Again, go check out the full video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments. We'll see you on the next one, Vetters. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.